What's up, guys? I'm Franklin, I'm 18, and I show online entrepreneurs how to make more money by weaponizing their ADHD. Now, I used to struggle just to get a couple hours of straight focus, but now I get over 6 hours of deep work every single day. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how to focus better than 99% of entrepreneurs so you can decimate your competition. Now, the reason why you would wanna do this should be fairly obvious. The more focused you are, the more work you get done. The more work you get done, the more money you make. So if you can focus better than 99% of your competition, naturally you're just gonna beat them. But my guess is, if you're watching this video, or especially if you had ADHD as a kid, you're nowhere even close to the top 1%. In fact, you're probably in the bottom 10 to 20%. And the only reason you haven't realized this yet is because you're comparing your productivity right now to what it was back in math class. But in reality, you have quite a lot of progress that needs to be made. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how to make all of it. So let's just get straight into it. Ultimately, if you struggle to focus on something that you want to be focused on 100% of the time, it is one of these three factors. Now, just to clarify, this video has nothing to do with consistency or, overall life focus. This is strictly pertaining to focus during the work session. The first factor is having a distractible environment or having poor work systems. Now, if the place you're working in is very cluttered, it's gonna make it basically impossible to get into that hyper-focused state because your brain is gonna be cluttered. But in the modern age, most of our distractions come from the internet, which is also where we do most of our work. So the number one most important thing to organize is your internet environment. You cannot allow yourself any accessible distractions while you're working. No pop-ups, no notifications, no different tabs, no different windows. These are the basics, right? But sometimes this is still not enough. If you find that you often get impulses to make irrelevant Google searches or check social media, then you need to put systems in place which make it impossible to do that, even if you wanted to. Now, obviously, no matter what system you come up with, you can still bypass it if you just don't care about working. But trust me on this, making it take a little bit of effort and a little bit of time delay is really what kills these impulses. This is one of the most important things to focus on because one offshoot distraction can pull you out of focus mode and completely ruin your work session. The second factor is having a weak focus muscle. Now, if your work environment is fine, you're not getting distracted by different pop-ups on your computer, it's just you and the work, right? But if it still feels like you have to exert massive amounts of willpower to stay focused, that means you have a weak focus muscle. Imagine it's your first time at the gym and you try and go over to the weight rack and curl the 40s. Now, no matter how hard you try, you're just not gonna be able to do it because your biceps just aren't strong enough yet. But after you train for long enough, then you'll be able to do it easily. The same is true with focus, except instead of taking years, this transformation can happen in under a week if you do it right. First, stop destroying the muscle with low effort, hyper-stimulating activities like scrolling on social media. Second, you need to start training the focus muscle as soon as possible. The way you do this is by practicing focusing on something that is extremely boring for long periods of time. Once you're able to focus on that extremely boring thing, you're gonna come back to your business work and it's gonna seem super fun and easy. Now, of course, it's gonna be painful at first, but the same thing is true with exercise. When you start lifting, when you start running, when you start doing whatever, you get weaker first. But after about a week, you'll find that focusing on your business work for long periods of time has become exponentially easier. It is absolutely essential to have a strong focus muscle because no matter how good your environment is, no matter how well your brain works, if it takes massive amounts of willpower to focus, you're just not going to be able to do it for hours back to back. The third factor is having poor brain function. If your environment is fine, if you're not consuming hyper-stimulating content, but when you sit down to work, it just feels like your brain's not completely turned on, like you have brain fog. Well, then your problem is that you have poor brain function. Your brain needs very specific chemical conditions in order to be able to get into deep states of focus. if your inflammation is too high, if your nutrients are off, if your transmitters are out of balance, it's simply not going to happen. Now, it might sound super complicated, but luckily, the vast majority of your brain function can be restored simply by addressing three main issues: sleep, nutrition, and gut health. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh, I already know that. If you're having these problems, you obviously don't. A lot of people take this way too far, and it has very strong diminishing returns, which means that the further you get into it, the less continuous results you get. The good news is, if you've mostly been neglecting your brain health, like you've probably been doing, you literally have free money just sitting on the table if you put in even a little bit of effort. So in summary, if you can't focus on your business work, it is always one of three things. You either have an uncontrolled work environment, you have a weak focus muscle, or you have poor brain function. Now, like I said, if you want to focus better than 99% of your competition, you need to max out on all three of these categories. There's not necessarily one thing that most guys neglect that you should put all of your focus into. It's the fact that almost nobody has all three working in synergy. When you do eventually bring all three together, you'll realize you get way more work done than people who never had ADHD in the first place, because you can unlock your superpower, hyper-focus, on command. Now, I'm aware this video is not very actionable, and I do apologize for that. So if you know you struggle in one of these three areas, I have more in-depth and actionable videos that I'll link down below in the description. If you know you struggle with all three of these areas and you feel very overwhelmed, then you should come join my free community on School. The link is also going to be down in the description. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you. If you got value, make sure to leave a like. If you did not get value, make sure to leave a dislike. And if you want to see more of me, make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. And I'll see you in the next one.